Hi, everyone. Okay. My name is Mary Ayuba. Today, I'm going to be talking to you on the need for you to redefine your life with courage because there is more. I'd like us to do a very simple exercise. Can you just close your eyes for a minute? Or maybe less than a minute. Just two questions I'm going to ask you, and then you can open your eyes. Have you ever felt trapped in a version of success that doesn't feel quite like yours? Have you ever had to smile for the world while struggling on the inside of you? It's okay to open your eyes. What if the limitation is not your ability, but the benchmark you have yourself? As a young professional who was ticking all the boxes, I felt misaligned. You to observe that the talent to have it all figured out. There's that pressure appear as though everything is okay. I've been there, so I know how that feels. It was 2013. I just completed my diploma in one of the polytechnics. I had the opportunity to intern in one of the financial institutions. It was a good opportunity for me, I must say. And the original arrangement was for me to be there for 1 year, and then I continue my studies because it was just an ordinary diploma. I had to stay back anyways because I needed the funds, as my parents could no longer afford to sponsor my education. Let me stay back and so that, I pay my fees and continue with my education. Weeks, months into years, and before I knew it, I spent 6 years and 6 months on that job. Those were days I now refer as dark days because those days were not so palatable. And I remember waking up because I needed to meet up with the staff boss. I remember also coming back late at night, having no time for myself or family. That was really my reality. Because of my background in mass communication, which I did in my diploma, I decided to also volunteer on a radio station. So Monday to Friday, I would go to the bank job, and then on weekends, I would be in the studio. I'll travel miles to the studio. I was very passionate. I was in my early 20s, so I had energy, I think. It was a good one for me. I learned the job, did my voice training, and then on Sunday, I'll show up to, interview entrepreneurs from different parts of the world. As I was doing this, it's okay? Okay. All right. I'll catch my breath. I hope you're following the story. And so I was telling you about how I would travel miles and go to the office. While I was doing this, I developed a passion for women and girls. And I didn't fail to tell every woman around me that she could be more than just being a woman. Now, I took that passion beyond just the feeling. And then I founded an organization called the Multiwoman Network. We held the first conference in 2018 and then in 2019. However, I got to the point where I began to face a conflict. It was like I was between the devil and the deep blue sea. You know how the job was calling for my attention? And then the other thing I was doing, which was giving me the impact and the fulfillment, also was dragging me on one side. It began the question of which would I go for? I couldn't quit the job because remember, I needed the funds to further my education. And of course, I did start my education, but I didn't complete it. Because at the last semester for my education, I'd gone to school that day to just making inquiries. And somehow I was told that there were some courses I was supposed to take in my 100 level and I didn't take them. Apparently, they were added along the way. I didn't know that. And then I said, you know what? You can keep the certificate. I had the job anyway, so I continued doing that. Now, what I didn't know was that more was still coming ahead. 23rd of March 2019. It was the day we had the second edition of the conference. That day was a Saturday. It was the day my elder brother was getting married, and coincidentally, it was also the day we were having this conference. During that week, we had a notice in the office that we had to show up at work. I went to my boss to say, please, ma'am, I have 2 major events on this particular Saturday. Could you please permit me not to be at work that day? She looked at the invitation card in my hands and said, Mary, are you the bride? I said, no, ma. She said, okay, if you're not the bride, it means the wedding will go on with or without you. I thought she was joking, but she was serious because she wasn't smiling. I showed her the flyer for the conference I was hosting. I mean, women supporting women in it. And she said, Mary, you have to be here on Saturday. On the day of the conference, I went to the venue of the conference, started the event, gave my keynote speech, and then left the venue of that conference to go to the office. Apparently, she noticed my absence during the first half of the meeting. And so when she eventually saw me later in the day, she said, Mary, when did you come into this hall today? I said, ma'am, I came in just about some minutes ago. And then she said, on Monday morning, you are dismissed. Go back to your employer. I looked at her. I wasn't ready to be dismissed. And then I began to plead. I watched my other colleagues, and I will never forget a very pregnant woman. On the news, everyone was begging this woman, please don't sack her, please don't dismiss her, please let her stay. That was the day I knew my life was in the hands of somebody. And because I am living a life which I do not want to live in the hands of anybody, I knew it was time for me to begin to plan my exit. I later on documented my experiences in this book, Suffering and Smiling, The Tale of a Lagos Bank Worker. But beyond that, I made a decision that never in my life will I be at the mercy of somebody. I didn't jump out immediately. I had to plan my exit. And I remember on the day I submitted my resignation letter in January of 2020, she called me to her office and said, Mary, why are you leaving? And I said something. I'm leaving because I'm not meant to be here forever. And that's the way it is with our lives. Every stage of our lives is in phases. We are here today and we are gone tomorrow. The passion I had for women and girls, I continued to push through that. I continued to invest in women. And every woman I had around me, I told them, you can be more because really there's more. I chose to leave the path where people applauded me for and told something that, was like a road less visited. I switched to writing, digital marketing, coaching, storytelling, and most importantly, I made a decision that I will continue my education. And that was what brought me here 3 years ago in Bachasa. I came back to study at the age of 28. This picture for me is a picture of a girl who has a dream. The organization I had for women, I kept on pushing through it. And so, like you can see in the picture above me, this was the 4th edition of that conference, and we have empowered over 3,000 women in Nigeria and beyond. And so, my belief is that breaking limitations is not just about personal transformation, but shared liberation. When you choose to go beyond or when you choose to normalize authenticity over appearance, when you choose to pick clarity over confusion, when you choose to pick growth over guilt, what you are doing is not only investing yourself, you are also going to be investing in the lives of every other person you are going to be meeting along the line. At the end of the day, what truly matters is how you lived, not the applause of people, not what people want you to do, not the requirement that people have of you. It has to do with what you really want to do. So, after today, or while you're still in this meeting, I want you to sit with yourself. Come home to yourself and have a conversation with yourself. Is this truly the life I want to live? Is this truly what I want to be doing? If your answer to that question is no, I implore you to find what you really want to be doing and go for it. It may not be easy, I must promise, because it was never easy for me. But believe me, that's the line of satisfaction, that's the line of fulfillment, and most importantly, impact. I'll leave you with the words of Viktor Frankl that says, when you rise as yourself, you don't just break limitations, you set others free to do the same. Thank you.